Good morning and happy Wednesday. I'm feeling a little nasally this morning. I can hear them cutting the grass outside. I think that might be it. I'm not allergic to grass, but I don't know. I don't sound like George though. So hello, replay people. Special hello to Christine. I love your comments, and I'm so happy you come later and catch it all up because I know you're sleeping right now. Christine's in Australia. So how are you doing? How are you feeling? How did you sleep? All those questions. What just crossed my mind was if you live alone, or if you're a mom, or whatever it may be, those questions that wouldn't it be nice to hear every morning? How did you sleep? How do you feel when you wake up? Do you need anything? Would you like to stay in bed for breakfast? That's cool, right? I don't want to start talking too much until I see people popping on, which I don't see people popping on this morning. I'm gonna wait just a couple minutes, and then it's super interesting because I've decided to allow Wednesdays to not have like working sessions, so it's my creative rest day. That's what Wednesdays are. And there's no one here right now, which is really unusual. So I'm just gonna talk. I'm just gonna start talking. I'm just coming on to make sure I'm seeing what's really here. Okay. Good morning, Sandra. I was just sitting here. I'm like, nobody's here. And I just kind of declared Wednesday as my like no session day, but more creative and rest day, whatever I need today. And then I was saying, but so nobody's here. So the universe is already giving me an indication that today is just a rest day. How you doing, Sandy? Do you like Sandy or Sandra? I don't know if I've ever asked you. And your name says Sandra, but you know, I want to call you Sandy. So tell me what you think about that. So, and I'm going to ask you these questions because I don't know if anybody's asked you these questions. That's what I was just saying too. How are you this morning? How do you feel this morning? Is there anything that you need? Did you sleep well? All those questions that if you had this like beautiful person that lived with you, whether they're a partner or a friend or whatever they are, that, you know, comes up to you in the morning and asks you all those beautiful questions about how do you feel and, you know, where are you at? So I'm asking you and anybody else who's hearing me those questions. All right, so all week long so far we've been talking about this base operating system that that we all have, and it has been quite a discovery process for me, and quite a profound, very easy connection to establish to make life feel better. I don't know how else to put it. I don't have it all understood, but I'm going to share with you guys what I'm starting to understand and utilize. So this morning, this is kind of a story time day, but I think hopefully it'll be helpful. When I woke up this morning, I had a very, I didn't get enough sleep last night, not last night, but the night before. But it was because I was so like wanting I had a blast of work desire, basically in the middle of the night. And then I worked all day yesterday. Hold on. Sandra, I'm well rested due to a cold remedy. My operating system is under construction. I love that. I'm glad you feel better. Good morning, Hannah. So I was tired. I woke up this morning and I could feel a little bit of tension in my body, and I don't want to wake up like that anymore. So this is, I think, what started this whole investigation I'm doing. Like, I wake up not feeling great. I want to wake up feeling great. I want to wake up feeling like I rested so well and my body feels comfortable, and what am I going to do today? And oftentimes I wake up kind of having to feel like I need to reboot everything, because it's not, my mind isn't bothered, it's my nervous system. So a couple of weeks ago, I kind of set off on this mission, like, what's going on and how do I solve this? So this morning I woke up and I had that feeling. And so this is, Renee, as this evolves, I feel this is going to be a huge thing that I'm going to be able to share with people to help this. So there's this feeling I get, I'm learning where this space is. And we have our brain, I guess. I don't know how else to put it. We have our brain that's telling us all day long, do this, do that. I feel this, I feel that. I'm mad, I'm happy, I'm whatever, right? We have this higher level of an operating system. And then I'm discovering this other whole entire level. And what really started me curious about it is when we control our thoughts, because I have a feeling that I'm going to be revamping like what I'm teaching about this. When we're like, oh, I'm thinking this thought that's not conducive to creating the best life, I'm going to create a different thought. And whether it's a direct, no, I'm not thinking negatively, I'm going to find something positive, to I'm going to take this negative thought and go around to the back door and look at it a different way. So you're not actually pushing away the negative thought, but you're just finding a different way to see it. That's how I've always kind of looked at things. But there's more to it. There's more, like, you could say, like, why am I thinking that? What trauma is triggering me, or whatever it may be? Or could there be a whole level of, I know there is, but this is my question. Could there be a whole nother level of consciousness that we're just not tuning into? And it's not intuitive, like, let me see what information I can get about this. It's just like when you buy a computer, it has a base operating system. That's all it is. And it feels so not complicated at all. Like it's just sitting there. Like something like, even this is, like I'm looking at how simple this is. It's just a crochet hook. But when I pick this up and I want to use this as an example, this is even more complicated than this operating system to be able to connect with, because this is made up of all kinds of bits of energy, right? All the bits, the particles that are moving at different rates of frequency are creating this. This is more complicated than it feels like this operating system is for us, because it just is what is. Like, this is interesting, and obviously I don't understand everything I'm talking about, but to be able to connect with this part of us, it's not complicated, and it is the non-duplistic part of us. It's the part of us that isn't, it's the pure part of us that's not thinking this was bad, this was good, this was my trauma, this was blah blah blah, all of the stuff that makes us who we, like, not makes us who we are, but makes us react to everything. So it has nothing to do with the mirror that we're looking in. What it has to do with is our base operating system. And so this is what I found out this morning. I woke up this morning and I was like, shit, I feel that feeling. So I went, it's like this lowering down in my body. I don't know how else to, like a sinking down, going down to the basement level, which that resonates with what I saw. And all I said to myself was, what's the matter? What's the matter? And I heard in my head, I'm afraid of being tired. So when I say that, it's not that this base operating system is afraid of being tired. It's that, and I did a whole video about this, like from my diary thing. It's about, I have had many, 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 many years of my life that being tired was normal. And so that operating system allowed me to understand it's not stressing. It's going to be there any which way. It's just there. It just is. It's just is. But my physical body is reacting to, I'm afraid of being tired. I'm just afraid. My body is like, yo, I'm afraid of being tired. So I did this whole thing. I'm not going to go too much into it, but I've spent many, many years, because when I was a kid and I danced for a decade, all I did, I went to school all day. I even would go to school all day, go to hairdressing school, like in the afternoon for my like co-op kind of thing with high school, and then would go dance till 9 o'clock at night. And there was a whole thing attached to that, like food. I didn't go home and have dinner or anything like that. Every dinner day was a piece of pizza or a hot dog. That was dinner, because we ate at Tex Barry's in Taunton, if anybody has ever been there, a hot dog and fries on my 30-minute break from dancing school. So anyways, and then later on in life, being a nurse, working 60, 70 hours a week, nights, never sleeping for a decade. So, and it was normal. It's normal. So anyways, that's what my base operating system said. I'm tired. I don't want to be, I'm afraid of being tired. Yeah, I hear you, Hannah. So I'm not gonna like go on and on about this, because I will eventually, because there's a gold mine here, because this is what happened. How many of you guys, I hear this all the time, say, I don't really remember my childhood very well. Some people are like crazy and can remember when they were born and 2 and 4 and in their crib and all of that. But a very large amount of us, especially if we had like trauma in our childhood, or we felt like we suffered in ways in our childhood, don't remember. I don't remember many years, like to sit down and say, what did I do at this age? I would have to go into meditation and maybe grab a few fragments. Does anybody else have that experience, like not remembering a lot of your childhood? Well, I, in my head this morning, wanted to go to, I think I wanted to go to where this operating system was. Like, how do I find this operating system? And I ended up it looked like a basement. It looked like a room, but it felt underground. And when I walked in, there was this one guy in the middle. He kind of looked like a janitor, and the whole room was empty, but he was waiting. It was like he was holding the space and just like assigned to that post and waiting. And I had to change my frequency in order to see what was in the room. And when I did, I started exploring the room, and everything it was all my memories. It was crazy. It was all my memories. There was there was jeans that I wanted when I was a teenager. There was horses. There was racetracks that, remember those Hot Wheels, I think, you pull back and they run. We used to get those for Christmas every year. There was my brother, my brother died in his early 20s. My brother was in there, but he was like a little kid and he was all white. There was so much stuff in this room. And my first interpretation of it was desire. Because it was all the things I wanted, or all the things I asked for. So I had this combination of weirdness, I've talked about this before, don't remember having a lot of desires when I was a kid. And then as an adult, some of us temper our desires with what we think is available to us. So my first thought was, these are all my desires. These are all these things I wanted in childhood and I received. So it was two things, my desires and my memories. So to me, we got a lot of shit hiding in this operating system that I'm figuring out how to find. I'm going to go back to the comments because we got lots of comments. Karen, I don't remember much. Renee, me too. Hannah, not by age, but moments. There's moments I relive and remember all the time, hunting, fishing with my dad. There's some fear around remembering because of trauma that I do remember. I get that, Karen. Sandra, I remember so much. Hannah, I see bits of my childhood in dreams, places I've been and forget about. Yeah, those flashes like, oh, I haven't thought about that for like how many ever years. Yeah. So in the other part, I'm going to say this, I'm kind of talking about like what I've experienced this morning is I'm going back to my body being, or going back to the part of me that is afraid of being tired. I had last night, it was midnight. I wanted to go to bed. Anybody else, you have stuff you have to do right before you go to bed. It's like George out. I had to brush my teeth. I wanted to change my sheets because I wanted to just have a clean sheet night. And I got mad. And nobody knew, like I was with Isis and I was outside and nobody knew I was mad. But I really felt it. And what I was mad about is I wanted someone around me to know how fucking tired I was. That's what I felt like. Like, I was like a little kid, like, and little kids like, Mommy, watch me. And then they go, and that's what I felt like. But I was able last night I felt the feeling and I sunk in and I'm like, we don't need to be mad. What do you need? I knew what I needed because I just wanted to go to bed. But that connects to my childhood too. But the cool thing is this morning when I was connecting this base operating system with our physical body, that's where all the information is that we need to keep our body healthy or to heal our sick bodies. And it feels to me, it's not an emotional place. It's not where the trauma is. It's where it's where all the answers live. So on this higher level, we can understand, not like higher, I don't mean higher vibrational, but higher, like in our mind level, we have these memories of whatever trauma we went through. So that is how our reactions in life are perceived through our mirror, which conducts our actions or what we believe is available to us. But this lower level of operating system has all the answers. So we don't have to get emotional. We don't have to dive into all the trauma. We just need to understand. It's like the operating, like there's a manual of why we're operating the way we are. And that's what I felt as far as like, I'm going to talk about one more thing. because of where I came from, because I was a dancer, because I'm a yoga teacher, I know how to make my body do stuff, just like any other athlete, right? You can run and push yourself. You can lift weights and push yourself. You can lift your leg as a dancer and command your muscles to get stronger and stronger. So, but that is this level of telling our bodies what to do. And that could mean you have to stay up for 2 days because you have to work 4 shifts, or whatever it may be that you're telling your body it has to do. But if we are connecting with our base operating system, it basically gives us that manual of what does your body need? How much can your body take? It's that balance of what your brain is telling your body to do versus what it's actually capable of doing. And that's my problem, because I have pushed beyond my capability for so long. That's normal for me. So, and I think that's normal for a lot of people. Like when our nervous system is suffering and of overuse, like Hannah, I'm sure you can relate to that, or Renee, or any other people who have had jobs or that push you beyond what is healthy for you. So your base operating system knows that level of this is your zone of what's good for what you were born with. Up here, you're just going to start to suffer physically. And down here, you're not utilizing everything you have. So I'm excited about learning more about my operating system as far as my physical body goes, to optimize what's available to me, because I think just for myself, I haven't been operating in that desirable space for the experience that I came here to have. Does that make sense? Hannah, I had a huge operating system situation last night. I'll put it in the group chat. Yeah, I'd love to hear it, Hannah. So anyways, I hope what I'm saying sounds more helpful than it does boring. Because, I'm working through this stuff, so I don't even know if I'm describing what I'm saying in a understandable way. I've always had 2 to 4 jobs, including having an ESL student living with us. When the Lord known happened, my body didn't know what to do with the quiet and rest from not working. Yeah. I think just like lockdown. Okay, that makes sense. Yes. There's someone in one of the groups that's going through that. She just went through a lot of exhausting things, and now she's like, I am so tired, I can't get out of my way. And she's just operating in more of a neutral living situation now. And it does go back to the physiology of our bodies, and our nervous system and our adrenal system will support the situation we're in. So if we have all those hormones, all those stress hormones running through our body that keep us artificially running, right? It's between our hormones running in trauma mode and whatever we happen to be putting into our body as a stimulant, coffee, tea, whatever, we're running on an artificial like system, in an artificial world of which isn't going to suit our body at all, right? So finding that optimal, allowing our operating system to dictate to us what our optimal functional capability is is important. I can see it running through my head, like, how do I figure this out? How do I talk about it and put it in steps to do it? We'll see how that works out. Karen, we also have to stop attracting or turning to trauma. Yeah, the more I'm doing this, the more like I'm really diving deep into all of this. I'm feeling more and more that when we're like, this happened to me, let me figure this out. This happened to me, let me diffuse and approach my problem by grabbing onto this trauma. Or I do this because of my trauma. You know, I act this way because of my trauma. That operating system that's running in us doesn't care about the trauma. It cares about the response to the trauma. And that's what I think, that's where the secret is. We need to figure out how to change the response to the trauma. You can't change the trauma. The trauma is, you know, I think in some ways in our human experience that we're having, the trauma is there on purpose. What do you guys think? You know, we come here, we're here for a reason. We're here to have these experiences. It's not all willy-nilly, whatever happens, happens. I think that there are certain things that are going to happen to set us up with our life and our experience and how we handle it. So those of us that sit in the, woe is me, this happened to me, that's not going to help us at all. It's like, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? Karen, it's a habit to always look for problems to solve. Yes. Hannah, your trauma is not an excuse to treat others badly. Yeah. Yeah, George is over here sleeping away. Yeah, so I think this is, for me, this is like a constant evolving learning experience. And then for me, I like move my learning experience into a teaching experience. So I'm, and it's interesting, right before I started doing the Magic Carpet Ride stuff, I was going to do a thing called Unruly Avatar. So we're this avatar, and I was thinking about writing this user's manual of how to run our avatar. And this is kind of bringing me back full circle to that idea, because this base operating system that we have, we do need a user's manual. And I think the number one thing that would be in the table of contents is how to connect with it, and then surrender to it. Like it when I touch it with my consciousness, it's so, you know, this is a really good example for me, like from my experience. When you were a kid and you had to go tell your parents, it was my mother, something that you knew she was going to be like hugely reactive about. So there's all that anxiety and like, oh my God, how am I going to tell her this? Like I got suspended for smoking in the bathroom in high school. And like, I literally freaked out so bad telling her she thought I was pregnant. She's like, I was laughing because you just got caught smoking and I thought it was because you were pregnant. So, and that's what it kind of feels like settling down into this place that is the operating system. It's like coming down to anticipate, how do I solve this problem? How do I feel this way? Why am I acting this way? All of those things. There is a level of weight around, I'm going to have to adjust this or fix this or change this. And that place, to me, when I get there, is just, it's just peace in neutrality. So that's what we want to connect with. I heard, don't bleed on those, they didn't cut you, when you said that. Hannah, can you tell me when I said what exactly? I was adopted and found out recently that I would have had more trauma in my birth family. So I believe I was put here to deal with my trauma regardless. Annoying, but maybe I saved another person who would not have been able to carry it. Yeah. Sandra, my mom often asked, what makes you tick? I still think about that question. That's a good question. Shannon, I need to know how to reboot the undertow. Well, Shannon, let's talk about that for a minute. I'm chatty this morning. Shannon, to reboot, right? Because that's something I've thought a lot about too in the past, especially, is how do I reboot the system? What about, instead of thinking about using the word reboot, what about just connecting with, or defining what the because God, this week has been amazing for me. The whole undertow thing, I've gone from feeling that part of me to this very neutral place. So I think it's more about finding the base of what your operation is. Finding the base of, and it would be, well, okay, I'm talking this through. If you consider yourself a computer and your main operating system, like you buy a computer, maybe it has Windows on it. It's already operating and it has capabilities that you buy. When you buy it, it has capabilities. It has so much memory. It has so much this, so much that. It can do this, it can do that. And then you add all kinds of stuff to it. And that, the undertow thing makes me think of that, like to reboot back to the, what do they call, what do you call it? The, when you reboot it back to how the manufacturers, there's a word for it, I can't think of it. But like basically how the computer back to its base, and to defrag it, which that's like a common word in the healing community, right? To defrag all your stuff. Because this base place, it's not mad, it's not sad, it's not traumatized. It just holds the information. Sandra, the undertow was perceived as some danger in the water life that you have to avoid or deal with. Yeah. Factory reset. Thank you, Shannon. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. So to be able to reboot, but you can't, right? Like, I'm just philosophizing right now, but you can't really reboot yourself back to your like the factory reset, because you have, for me, I have 59 years of stuff. So what I'm seeing in my head is if we can get down to our base operating system to understand what that is, it dissolves that. And that's literally what I have been feeling in my body. It dissolves the energy around the trauma or the stuff that we would want to reboot. When we're in connection with this part of us, this is what it feels like to me. Because I can't tell you for everyone, because I haven't actually worked with anybody in this space. But for me, when I get there, it dissolves everything else. It neutralizes the energy of the trauma that I'm holding, which is creating the reaction. I better save that sentence. And brings me back to neutral, to just what is. I feel like I should have a mic drop or something. Yeah. How does that feel to you guys when I said that? So this is going to be, I'm going to work on this every live. Like, we have 2 more lives, so I'm going to just keep working through this idea. And you guys, like, if this is impacting you when you're listening to this, I know I've lost a few people today. We're down to 4 people, and there was more people, but those of you who are sticking through this conversation, you know, if you have pops of information throughout the day, if you happen to be thinking about this, please feel free to share it in the group, because I feel like this is an important thing that I'm sure this is a topic with some people somewhere, but it's not something that I've really come across, or I don't really know the definition of what I'm talking about. So there's that. No, I can't say it again. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the video. I literally am gonna have to go back and watch the video, because it's when I have like shots of that, it's almost like intuitive hits that are like, here's these words that you can string together to make you sound like maybe you know what you're talking about, but then it's like it's gone. But I am going to go back and listen to it, I think, because that was a pretty good definition of what I'm trying to talk about. All right, you guys. Forgot I could go back and watch. Yeah, let's go back and watch, because that was a really good definition that I should use in times to come when I'm talking about this. So thank you guys for hanging out with me and letting me, I think this week has been a lot about me processing things that I will be able to share with other people to help them as time goes on. So I appreciate you guys like supporting that with me. It's really helpful. And I've been saying this a lot to people, when what is helping me more than anything is literally spending time talking to myself and the parts of me that know what's going on, and just having conversations. I've been doing it every morning. I've been, recording it so that I remember what I'm saying. And that is what is excelling my consciousness right now, is having conversations with myself on a higher level, not like, on a gossip level or anything like that, but really going in and asking legitimate questions that I want to know about how I operate. Karen, it's good to hear you go through your process. Thank you. Love these word trips. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Shannon, I reset my mind daily and void out all those negative programs and use the sunset as a focus and a reminder. That's a really good practice, Shannon. All right. Well, I will see you guys tomorrow. Today, I'm this is my plan to spend a lot of time working with the Reiki modules that are in the Reiki training program, and this is kind of cool. I got a email last night. It's like Reiki International. They have a magazine that comes out. They've had a magazine for many, many years. And I just happened to get an email last night inviting people. It's not specific to me, but it was inviting people who would like to write an article to be published in the magazine. And it really started making me think about, we've been doing, in the Reiki program, we've been having conversations with Dr. Usui, who's no longer alive, who's like the father of Reiki. So I've been thinking about writing a magazine article about my conversations with Dr. Usui. So we'll see how that goes. I think it would be fun, and it would be fun to have something published. I've done this before, but it was many, many years ago. So it'll be my anomalous action for today to do something maybe I'm a little afraid of. All right. Have a good day. Thanks for hanging out for so long, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.